how do I press check a 1911? So let's go ahead and get into it. It's real simple, just a few basic ideas. There's some old ways and some new ways and some right ways and some wrong ways. And yeah, these lines do cross. So the standard traditional way would be to, I'm going to back away to have more room, would be to grab the rear cocking serrations on the gun, the rear of the slide, and grab and look into the gun. Now, that causes some problems because depending on your situation and the angles you're presenting, whether you're trying to look at it yourself or show clear or loaded or unloaded to somebody else, you may have to move the gun around. So you had some people would advocate, that's where the front cocking serrations would come from. So a front cocking serration, you can actually see the end of the chamber and your support hand is not in the way. And also it's easy to show clear or not show clear for, if there's a range safety officer. That's really where front cocking serrations really came from, as I recall, as I was seeing them pop up in the competition community. So now, back in the old days, this is the sketchy way, but not the wrong way. There is a wrong way coming. There is another thing to do. So what I used to do before we had front cocking serrations, and I was running, very heavy springs and 45 caliber guns that had, that locked up real hard, is what we could do is I could come over the top of the gun with my thumb and my index finger on my support hand, hit the plug, crack open the gun, and look at it like that, Now you'll notice this finger on my support hand never crossed the muzzle. It's close, never crossed the muzzle. This is sketchy. You'll definitely get burned if you have an accident, but it's not a firearms felony. So now the way that I've never done it, I've never advocated doing it. I've actually never in real life even seen somebody do this. The only person I've ever seen do this was Steven Seagal in the movie. He's the guy that did this, grabbing in the trigger guard and press checking on the plug that way. Now that's a firearms felony. That's a major no. You're going to have if you get that wrong, you could torch off the gun. There's documented cases of that happening. Don't do that. You're not Steven Seagal. Even Steven Seagal isn't Steven Seagal because his guns aren't loaded and he has an editor and you don't. Now, a couple other tricks on how to deal with the guns. Now, if you have a red dot on your 1911, the front cocking serrations are going to come in real handy because you're going to find yourself, especially if you're transitioning to a red dot, you spent your whole life working the back of the gun, and now you're going to find yourself wanting to grab the front because you're going to be reticent to grab anywhere up here on the red dot. You don't want to smudge it. You don't want to adjust anything. You don't want to turn it on or off. But so having a red dot on your gun will probably force you to migrate to front cocking serrations. And yeah, you can do that whole grab the window thing. But the thing is, you could smudge your window. What if you've got blood or mud or Lord knows cotton candy on your hand, whatever, and you get that on that window? I mean, it's kind of habit. When you have a red dot on the gun, you're going to want to avoid touching that glass. You'll trust me, that's what's going to happen. So now there is an old school trick. This is kind of sketchy. Doesn't really work on a square. It doesn't really work on a range with other people, but it's a one-handed press check if you wanted to do it. So you can check. I can see the brass. I'm going to hold it so you can see it, but I can easily see it there and, do that. And then, again, that's kind of, like that. So that's the easy way to do it. Now, there is a trick that I've come up with. If you're someone who you're having a hard time admitting your gun or doing press checks because either you have strength issues or the gun is so heavily sprung and tightly fitted that every time you try to open the gun, you end up going like this. Well, the solution is I will crack the gun open using 2 points of contact. The first point of contact, obviously front cocking serrations, but you don't have to have them, front cocking serrations. My second point of contact is actually my trigger finger. Now, if you will notice, I'm actually taking my trigger finger and I am pressing and pulling back on the slide. That will help, if you're trying to get a gun to unlock, if you do this, that'll help crack open the gun and, without it actually it getting a tipping point and the gun all of a sudden opening all the way up, and you introduce the malfunction or loss around maybe up on a line or something. So something you may want to consider is a two position cracking open a gun and doing that. Also, you may want to get into the habit of doing this if you've ever worked at night, like I have. A lot of times you're in the dark, you can't see, you don't want to be seen. Maybe you don't want to be seen admitting a gun. You're like, oh, I'm in the dark, I'm going to do this real quick, no one can see me. So maybe you want a situation where you want to get in the habit of being able to feel the brass in that chamber. So, and once you start recognizing that that's a skill, you'll employ that on other areas, especially a pro tip on bolt action rifles, but neither here nor there. So there's how I admin and press check a 1911. If you have any further ways that I haven't seen, go ahead and leave in the comments below. Please go to the website at John1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.